We are halfway through the year already, so it's time to look at our New Year's resolutions and be honest with ourselves and see if we've been true to them or not true to them, okay? This is like the same thing that happens every year. We all start off the new year on a new high and we're like, okay, this year I'm gonna do this and this and that. And then somewhere along the journey, it just kind of like goes away. And that's what this episode is going to be about. I want to look back at my own New Year's resolution, talk about like why somehow as a society, we always seem to like fall off of our own goals and why that happens, how to get back on the horse, and just reflect on my New Year's resolutions, reflect on what's still things that I want to work on, things that I haven't accomplished, things that I still want to do, and things that I no longer care for that I maybe wanted at the beginning of the year, because I feel like that's also part of the problem. You're going to change throughout the year, and so are some of your goals. So it's good to have a check in point, which is what today's video is about. Let's do it together. This is our halfway through the year, half check in point, and let's look at our New Year's resolutions together. I mean, I'm going to look at mine, I'm going to share them with you. You can share yours in the comment or send them to me, but let's get straight to it. I had to rewatch my New Year, New You video that I made in January at the beginning of the year. And watching back my videos, apart from editing them, is it's a punishment. Okay. I would rather probably like rip off my own toenails than to rewatch a video because I just think I sound ridiculous every time. So I had to rewatch it because I was like, okay, if I'm going to talk about where I am in comparison to where I wanted to be with my New Year's resolutions and all that stuff, I have to literally sit back and watch myself. And I did. And I wrote down some of the things that I said. But before we do that, I want to talk about, I feel like something that affects all of us, which is we all fall off of our New Year's resolutions all the time. This is like a worldwide phenomenon. If you're part of the 1% who sticks to your New Year's resolutions and you can just make it happen, drop the secret down below in the description, like, or in the comments. Like, please let all of us know how you stay true to your New Year's resolution all year, because I've never heard of such a thing. Okay. I feel like we all complain about how, like, oh, yeah, I fell off, but like, I'm going to get back right. Like, when does that ever happen? So I was pondering and I was like, you know what? I think the reason why we all fall off of our New Year's resolutions is because our New Year's resolutions are so broad. It's like a science project, okay? You're like, I want to be healthier. I want to be smarter. I want to do this. I want to do that. You have like a list of 10 things, right? And you just assume that from December 31st to January 1st, a day after, you're gonna be like this completely new person who's gonna somehow start waking up at 6 a.m. instead of 10 a.m. And you're gonna start going to the gym daily instead of 3 times a month. And you're gonna eat healthy every day instead of ordering takeout. And you're gonna, whatever your goals are, right? You just think you're just gonna magically wake up the next day and be this new person. And maybe you're so dialed in and so focused on actually becoming a better person that you might do it for a couple of days, maybe even a couple weeks if you're really like an extraordinary person. But somehow we always seem to fall off. And I think that the natural reason why this is happening is because we are all trying to accomplish way too many goals at the same time. Okay. You cannot rebuild your entire being at once. Like, it's almost like an impossible task. Like, think about workers creating, I don't know, a new highway. They're not doing all the steps at once, right? They're like, first, like, and I'm using an analogy that I can't continue with because I don't know how to build a road or a bridge, but you know what I'm saying? There's like steps, right? Before they get to actually like putting the top of the bridge. This is a horrible analogy, but there's steps and you have to like master each one and make sure that that foundation is really good before you could do another building block, etc., etc. If not, the bridge is going to collapse. Like, you can't do all the steps at once. Like, there literally has to be like a foundation, then the next step, and then it keeps going higher, higher, higher. And when we do our New Year's resolutions, you and I, all of us, what we're doing wrong is that we're literally like trying to attack every category of our life that needs to be better, which I feel like we can all find room to be better at everything. And so when you're doing this at the beginning of the year, you're like, okay, I'm going to be better at this and that. And this, it's like one of them scrolls from like the medieval times. Like, you just open it, it's like rolls through the floor, down the stairs to your neighbor's yard. That's like how long the scroll of things you want to change is. And it seems all great. And then you're like, yeah, I want to be better at all these things. Realistically speaking, you cannot be so much better at all of these different things at once. It's too overwhelming. Your brain is pre-wired to keep you in a comfort zone, to keep you not stressed, and to not have you basically overwhelmed because that's like a sign of distress. It's not good for you. And biologically speaking, you being comfortable and not stressed out is gonna prolong like your chances of living, and that's what your body's wired to do. So when you're over stressing yourself by trying to change your scroll of things that are wrong with your life all at once, you're just gonna quit. You're gonna biologically quit. And it's not because you don't wanna change these things. It's not because you don't care about being a better person. It's because it's too overwhelming for your body at once. And I kind of realized this looking back now because something that I did unintentionally this year was kind of attack one area of my life that I wanted to be better at slowly and getting better at that by itself before I move on to the next task, which I feel like is not how I handled my New Year's resolutions before. Like I used to just be like, okay, I'm going to do all these things. I'm going to be a way different person by tomorrow. And that's just like unrealistic. And you don't have the habits, you don't have the foundation, you don't have the cues and reward system to keep you in that loop of being this imaginary person, right? So it really has to be a slow fed thing. And I feel like the solution to this. So now that we've kind of assessed the problem here is that we are doing too much at once. It's overwhelming our body and we're quitting halfway through, if not 2 weeks in, because it's like, girl, I can't just wake up at 5 a.m., go for a workout, then go for a walk, blue light glasses, morning chicken broth while staring at the sun, like all these things overnight. Like it's just not how our bodies work. So my solution to that is when you make your New Year's resolution, and I feel like right now, halfway through the year is a great time to create a new New Year's resolution, a halfway year resolution, a midway resolution, let's call it. And look at where you are, look at how far you've come from the beginning of the year. What do you have left? Where do you want to get better at? And divide it into different separate goals and attack them one at a time. Okay. Let's say you're halfway through the year and you're like, okay, I feel like I still haven't mastered productivity and I feel like I really still want to get better at baking and I really want to, I don't know, go for more workouts in a day, right? Let's say those are like your main three. Don't try to do all these things at once. Don't say, okay, tomorrow I'm going to wake up and I'm going to go for that extra workout. Then I'm going to, what did I say? Were your goals, your fake goals? Bake, then you're gonna bake something. And oh my God, I don't remember what I literally just said, but you can't just wake up and do all these things like how we just said. So your best bet is gonna be to divide whatever goals you have for the year or for maybe the next quarter of your life or the next 3 months, whatever, into separate attainable goals. Like make that its own goal and conquer that first, and then add on something else. So maybe you're like, okay, I'm going to start off with the baking. So starting tomorrow, I'm going to dedicate this amount of time to learning how to bake, to practicing it, to, I don't know, evolving that skill. And once you get into that gist, once you get that ball rolling, once that is almost at its automatic point where you're like not thinking about it as much, once you're over that like beginner's hump, now you can actually focus on adding another project, right? Because now that one is almost conquered. Like it's an automatic. Now it's just about taking it from good to great. You're already over the hump, right? That beginner's hump is so stressful and it takes a lot of dedication and concentration. And that takes some time until you can then be like, okay, I'm no longer a newbie. I'm no longer stressed. I know what I'm kind of doing. Now it's just about becoming great. When you're at that stage, over the hump, add on that next task. And not only is this like less stressful because you're not trying to conquer 100 things about yourself that you want to better at the same time, not only is it less stressful, but also now you have the confidence of knowing, okay, I just mastered something that seemed like really hard to get into. I just got over the hump of like the unknown. And now with this newfound confidence, you can go into the next project feeling like, girl, like I know that I can really do whatever I put my mind to. And you're not going to be as stressed because you just seen yourself like overcome something that you were just stressed about the other day. Now, it'll also help you if you have like a dedicated amount of time in your brain for this goal. Let's say you come up with like 3 major goals that you want to accomplish and execute before the beginning of 2026 and you're like, okay, I have 6 months left. These are my top 3 goals. Maybe you could say, okay, I'm going to dedicate 2 months per each goal. Like from July through September, I'm going to do this. And then when I'm done with that, I'll move on to the next one. It's pretty good to like, it's almost like quarterly goals, but it doesn't have to be every 3 months. It could just be tailored to whatever you feel like that goal needs or fit it into your schedule. Like you can customize this obviously whichever way you want, which is going to be great. I literally just made a list the other day. It's somewhere on this notebook, but I have made a list of new things that I wanted to get into, like new hobbies, which is going to be another episode that I make because I feel like hobbies are really important for us. And we used to have a lot of hobbies when we didn't have phones and a bunch of distractions. But that's besides the point. I made a list of a bunch of hobbies that I wanted to get into or little things that I even wanted to just accomplish, right? And recently I was just like, okay, like let me look at that list. What's something that I can start doing now that I felt like, oh, this is gonna be like, for when I have time. Like, yeah, I have time now. Like I was postponing creating my sourdough starter and like getting into sourdough baking for so long because I thought it was gonna be so much more time consuming. And like I was just scared to start because I'm so unfamiliar with that world. I watch a lot of videos of it, but I feel like, okay, I've never done it. Like, I don't really know what I'm doing. And so it was just like that anxiety of like being a newbie at something that was just like keeping me from doing it sooner. And I was like, okay, no more. I'm just gonna start. I'm just gonna start. And if I mess up, that's okay. I'm gonna take as long as it needs me to get it right. But I'm just gonna start, no pressure. Like it's gonna be a fun new hobby. Taking that pressure off of like getting that ball rolling is such a key to actually getting the ball rolling because that stress and that fear of like being the newbie will like literally gatekeep you from doing whatever goals you're trying to do and like accomplishing and bettering yourself. So just maybe make a little list of all the things you want to do, prioritize them in order of like what you most want to do and get to it. Like dedicate some time, get to it, and don't overwhelm yourself by trying to like do it all at once because that's just where you're gonna want to quit and you're gonna be like, fuck this. Like, I'd rather be on my couch and scroll on TikTok and watch Love Island. And girl, that's not gonna make you a better human being. And you're gonna feel like shit afterwards. And there's no better feeling than like accomplishing something and knowing that like you're a better human being at the end of the day. So I feel like that's been my best hack for myself lately. Just looking at my goals as like separate things, attacking them one at a time. That way I'm not like so overwhelmed to the point where I get none of them done. Now, there will be times where even when you're following this little recipe, or even if you have your own little, method to your madness of how to accomplish your goals, where you're gonna fall off. Okay, falling off is almost like a natural process of starting anything new because you just get overwhelmed, you get tired, or maybe something broke that habit. Like, you've been maybe on like your working out every day thing and you've been so good at it, and maybe you go on a family vacation and it derails like your progress and your habit. And now you come back and you're like out of sync and you're no longer just working out every day like how you were just doing for 5 weeks in a row. It just kind of happens. Like life sometimes derails you, or maybe you got a little sick and now you stopped working out. And so now you feel like, ugh, I don't want to start working out again. It just happens, okay? Falling off the wagon happens more than we like to plan for and more than we like to admit. And sometimes when we break a habit and just kind of lose our momentum with our new goal and what we've been doing, we start to beat ourselves up so bad because obviously you feel like disappointed in yourself and you're like, oh, I was doing so good and now like I've lost all this progress. But when you start beating yourself up, you're only going to make it harder for you to go back into that habit. You're going to make it this like guilt trip. And now you just want to like reward yourself with something that's even worse. Like maybe you stop working out for a couple of days because you went on that vacay, you come back, you feel like shit about it. And so you start eating ice cream because you feel like crap about yourself. So trying to not like beat yourself up for a bad day or a bad week or whatever it is kind of like essential, because when you start beating yourself up, you're going to do other bad things and it's just going to pile on top. And now you're going to have to find even more strength to break that cycle because you've added more bad things on top, okay? You stopped working out, now you're eating ice cream, you're doom scrolling all day, you're waking up late, all because you didn't work out for a couple days because you went on a family vacation. So the best thing you could do is kind of just like forgive yourself whenever you fall off that wagon and don't beat yourself up and just be like, okay, you know what? I know that this is sometimes normal, it just kind of happens, but I'm just gonna get back to it, okay? I'm gonna do a little workout. And sometimes getting back to that habit feels so overwhelming because you feel disappointed in yourself, whatever the case may be. And so a little trick that can help with that is promise yourself you're gonna do like the easy version. Like sometimes I'll wake up a little late or not bounce up from bed as fast as I want to, and just kind of have like a pinch of like a bad start to my day. And that'll make me not want to go on my morning walk so fast. Like as soon as I do something that's not perfect in my morning routine, it just literally makes me want to stop my good momentum. Like I'm like, okay, I don't even want to go on this walk anymore. Like F that. And when I start doing that, I just tell myself, you know what? That's fine. Like you did have a bad start to your morning. So let's just go for a 5-minute walk. We're not going to do like a 30-minute walk today. We're going to do a 5-minute walk and that's it. And you can just come right back inside. No guilt, 5 minutes. And every time I always walk more than 5 minutes, but it's about lying to yourself. Okay. It's about lying to yourself and saying, okay, you don't have to go for the full walk. You can just do 5 minutes. Or, okay, I don't have to do all the laundry today. I'm just going to put one load in the washer and I'm going to put it in the dryer and I'm not going to take it out the dryer or whatever, like your version of what you're avoiding. Do like the really baby version. Convince yourself like, okay, I'm only going to do a pinch. I'm not going to clean the whole house. I'm just going to, you know what? I'm just going to sweep or I'm just going to like clean the tops of the furniture. Like that's all I'm going to do. And I promise I won't do the rest. Like, you tell yourself that and then you end up doing more. You just end up doing more every time. And that's kind of what I've realized. So I'll genuinely, and in the moment, I genuinely believe like, no, today, like there's no way I'm going to do more than 5 minutes because I'm so pissed. That literally happened to me today. Like I woke up later than my alarm. Then I stayed in bed for like 20 minutes. Then I had like the slowest morning ever. And by the time that I got outside to walk, it was already too hot and I didn't want to go on my long morning walk anymore because as soon as it's past like 8 a.m., it's scorching hot outside now because it's summer. So I was like, I'm not going to go for this walk anymore. And I literally promised myself, I was like, no worries. We're just going to go on a 5-minute walk. Okay. 5 minutes and we're going to run back inside. 5 minutes. That's it. Ended up doing 25 minutes. But it works every time. You have to literally lie to yourself. Like if you were a kid going to the dentist, like, no, you're good. You're gonna get a little sweet treat after. Just do a little lie to yourself and you'll see how much you actually get done. And even if you don't actually get the rest done, at least you showed up. And so in your brain, it feels like, okay, at least I went for a walk. It was a tiny walk, but at least I did it. And that's literally so much better for your brain than doing nothing. So now that we've talked about why we always seem to stop doing our New Year's resolutions, like what's kind of wrong with the traditional New Year's resolution approach, how to get back on the horse when you fall off, and how to actually implement a system that will allow you to keep showing up. Now it's time to get to the fun and juicy stuff, which is my own reflection of how far I've come and how far I haven't came for some of my own New Year's resolution goals. Okay, like I said, I had to watch back my entire video. And some of the things that I said include, I wanted to treat every day like the end all be all. And what I meant by this was in my head at the time, so January like 1st, I told myself, okay, like every day you have to attack it. Like, okay, today's the day. Like today you have to do the most and do as much as you can. And, like look every day as like its own day. And I still like that approach. I just feel like it doesn't work for me realistically. Like, there are some days that I can kind of go super hard, and there's some days that are a little bit slower due to like my period or things kind of messed up my plans or unexpected fun things come my way. And I realize like sometimes trying to make every day like the most ever is almost like too stressful. And so I feel like my better approach right now, and this might change again, I might watch this back at the end of this year and be like, what was this girl talking about? But what's kind of been working for me lately is just trying to make like weekly goals or just smaller goals that I can kind of attain. That way I'm not just like, okay, it all depends on my progress today. Because then if today I have a bad day, it feels like I've ruined everything. Versus if I kind of have like a weekly goal or a monthly goal or the overall vibe for the day. And then it's like, okay, some things didn't get done today, I'll just do them tomorrow. And I have been pretty good about like writing everything down on my planner, which I feel like before I've always tried to write things down. Like I love having a planner. I have 80 of these notebooks where I write ideas down and like I track everything, but a lot of the times I'll write things down and stop writing. I've been doing pretty good about like staying consistent with writing things for my everyday. And sometimes if I don't get something done that day, I'll just put it on the next day and be like, okay, you at least got all these other things done. It's not the end of the world. Like tomorrow we'll try to be better. And I feel like that's worked out a little bit better for me than the end all be all. mindset that I had at the beginning of the year. So scratch that, okay? Another resolution that I had was me being selfish with my time. I felt like I wanted to focus a lot more time on me and saying no to things that weren't really self-serving. Like, okay, if people wanted to go out, but I'd rather stay in to like work on my podcast or whatever the case might be, like learning to say no. But I actually feel like when I'm looking back at the year, I've, if anything, practiced saying yes to more things and trying to fit my schedule around it. Like, I feel like before I used to get so overwhelmed if people would be like, oh, let's do this like spontaneous activity, whatever it may be. And I'm like, no, but on that day, I'm supposed to like clean and do this and do that. And I will get so worked up. And I feel like now I have a little bit more of a flexible schedule where I can kind of adjust things as life is happening. And that has been way less stressful because I feel like at the beginning of the year, my thought process was like, okay, I have to say no to things because if not, then I won't get the things that I need to do done. And I can't have that happen. Like, I need to do everything that I need to get done. And now it's just more of like, okay, these things are going to get done. Don't worry. Maybe we just need to work ahead of time. That way, when life presents itself and there's a little bit of a spontaneous day, it doesn't derail your whole existence. And also, if you didn't get it done, that's okay. You can make it up. You can create a little bit more wiggle room here or do this or do that. And not just say no to things that are important to other people or even to myself just for the sake of productivity. You can still do that productive stuff at another time. Okay. And it's funny watching that back because I was like so dialed in and like, learn to be selfish and learn to do things for you. And I see the message in that and I still feel like it's true, but I've actually kind of focused more on, doing things for others while making sure I'm doing what I have to do. And I feel like that's kind of worked out a little bit better. But I'm not saying no to that idea. I'm just saying this is what I've been doing instead. Another topic that I talked about was forgiving myself for a bad moment and not letting one bad moment dictate the whole day. And, I feel like this is actually great advice. And I was like watching back, like, oh my God, I actually love that you said that. And I kind of have forgot that whole philosophy of like, okay, when you have a bad start to your day or a bad moment or you scroll for a little too long, don't let that dictate your whole day. I have been, I guess, living true to that advice. I just haven't remembered it in that same quote, like how I said it, which I really like it. Like, don't let one moment like dictate your whole day. And I was like, girl, you know what? Yes, that's a great idea. Because it's true. Like I said this morning, I didn't have the best morning. I didn't wake up on time. I didn't snap out of bed. I didn't do the things that I would have been extra proud of myself for doing, but I didn't let that derail my mood for the whole day, which I feel like is really important. And it was the message behind what I was saying at the beginning of the year. And it's true, like it's really important to not let a bad moment or a bad morning or a bad afternoon or a bad interaction just kind of swipe the whole day away. And you know what? If you do have a whole bad day, then don't let that create a whole bad week. It's just kind of like about learning to stop the bad momentum in its place and not letting it like snowball into a bigger issue. And another thing that I had mentioned that I was like, oh my God, I completely forgot about that quote, but it was so meaningful to me at the time, like 6 months ago. And it was like the magic that wait, what is it? The magic you are looking for is in the work you're avoiding. And I was like, I forgot about that beautiful quote. That's such a reawakening quote. It's like one of those quotes you rehear and it feels like the first time, like, right, like a lot of the magic I am looking for is in the work that I am not doing. And I love that quote. I'm going to rewrite it down. I was so happy like watching that part back because I was like, oh my God, I really forgot about that. And I remember when I was watching this back, a lot of my sentiment for the beginning of the year was I didn't want to waste time how I had done in 2024 or years prior, where I felt like I had gone nowhere with my life and I felt like I wasn't making as much progress as I wanted to be making. And now that I'm looking back 6 months later, I can say that I have been definitely working harder than I ever have and being more productive and creating routines and systems that really work for me. And I'm really proud of myself for that. I feel like I've been at my peak of productivity in my life. I still feel like my peak of productivity is like the tip of the iceberg as to how productive I can be. I really want to focus on like cutting back even more screen time. I've been considering getting like a flip phone and ditching like my smartphone to only like use it for like creating content and stuff like that. But I feel like there's so much more room for more productivity. But I can say that I have been really focused and really productive and very consistent compared to like years prior and whatever. I feel like I'm really proud of where I'm headed and in the direction that I'm working towards and the progress that I have been making. And I know there's room for a lot more growth and a lot more hard work. And I'm going to keep striving to do that. But I can look back at January and tell myself, you've been doing a good job. You have been doing the things that you said. You can go harder and you should be going harder. And you need to work on a lot of these other things. But overall, I would say that this is like my best 6 months probably ever. And I can't wait for the next 6 months of this year and just seeing how much this momentum of the beginning of this year can push me forward. And if you've been having maybe not the best 6 months or whatever the case may be, or maybe you are having a good 6 months or whatever, this is a good time to reassess, to look at how far you've come or where you need to improve or the steps that you need to do to have like a better year and move forward with that because it's only halfway through the year. A lot of the times, like I said, we fall off the wagon. That's normal, but it's also part of the journey to get back up, to get better. And every time that you get back up, it's going to be a little bit easier than last time. I'm really happy with where I am right now in my life. And I know, like I said, that this is just like the beginning of such great things to come because if I've been feeling this good with the amount of like work that I've been putting in, I can only imagine how much better I'll feel when I'm putting 10 times the work. But this is all for today's episode. I hope that this video inspire you girls to maybe reassess your New Year's resolutions, maybe make some new resolutions, apply some of these tools that have really helped me out. And I hope that it also helps you out. So I love you girls so much and I will see you all next Wednesday. Bye.